Hello guys, and welcome to another video today. This time we're on Assetto Corsa, and as you can see, it's the first ever race we're doing in terms of AOR social races on the wheel, and the first online race we're doing on the wheel on Assetto Corsa. This was a GT3 lobby that we was set up by Seppel, and we're around here. I think it's the motor circuit, it's the MotoGP circuit, and we're in qualifying right now. I'm in the SCG, which is quite a nice car to drive. I found it for me was the better car to drive and to set up. So for me, it's just one of those things that actually have a little bit of fun. And on this game, it's completely different to Project Cars 2. Obviously, I've raced Project Cars 2 with the wheel, and on this game, for me, it's actually a lot of fun when you get it right. As we're into the sort of first sector here, this was my banker lap. This is not my first lap of the session. But for me, this was actually just a bit of a challenge. You know, I had never really done a lot of running on Assetto Corsa. I got it for, I got it just after Christmas. I got it on 27th. And for me, it was quite a bit of a step into things. So it was very different to, well, it wasn't different to Project Cars 2, but it was quite, on the brake, for example, on the brakes, on the wheel, I got the Logitech G920. It's quite stiff. So for me, I had to really put the brake down as really hard. So I had to put something behind my chair to stop it actually rolling back, which I was able to fix, so it wasn't actually my chair wasn't actually rolling back when I was braking, but it was quite stiff for me, so I had to kind of adapt to that a little bit. And in these cars especially, because it demands so much from the brakes, because the brake pedal on my Logitech is so stiff, it was always pushing my chair back, so I put something behind it to fix it, and it was working quite well in the session. But we're up here, we're kind of a bit under pressure, and I just don't know this game very well. For example, I just don't know this game very well. I haven't done a lot of running on this game, as I said. I've done some laps in the Tatus. I've done a few laps in this car. Well, I did a few laps in this car because I had to, just to make sure I liked to drive this car before going into this lobby, because I didn't want to be a danger to anybody. So I've done a bit of running, but I haven't done a lot of time. I've probably done about 12 hours of game time on this game before going into this lobby, so I just didn't know much. And with 12 hours of game time, you don't know how to drive really to a full extent. But we did a 46.3 on our banker lap, and we cut on later on to do our actual fastest lap of the session. Here we're going for the last corner to start our fastest lap of the session. We're in P8 still. We did climb up the order, but I did a 46.0 in practice on my own. So here we are going into our fastest lap of the session. We're matching our lap delta bit, and then going into turn 1 now, braking just after the bit, just basically going into the where the grass bit is, down the second gear, flicking it into the left-hander in third gear. A little bit of understeer there, and a little bit of oversteer as well. And keep it in fourth gear through this right-hander. You want to lift slightly, modulate the throttle. You don't want to be on the throttle too much, you just understeer off. And that's been a pretty good first sector so far. Not my best. I did do a better first sector in practice. Now heading into corner down second gear, and a little bit of understeer too, but keeping it in second gear up to third. A little bit of oversteer, but we catch it nicely at the fourth. And now heading into this left-hander. Pretty tricky to get us right down the second gear. We'll take a bit of a, I think, tighter line for me, and that was a pretty good run through there. That was pretty superb. Now it's left-right. Pretty difficult to get right down the third gear just before the curb starts. You want to turn it in, and you don't want to get too over the curbs either, because it can kill the car and make the car go out a lot. And now this right-hander, not flat, lift in fourth gear, a little bit of brake as well, a little bit of understeer, but we're in the limits quite well. And you're heading down this really long straight, and then we're going to brake, I think, just about there, and you're down the second gear. And I could have taken a little bit more attackingly, but I didn't, and we take a nice bit of speed through there. We're up quite a lot on our lap time. Now into this right-hander down the third gear, you want to keep quite a tight line, and it understeers off a little bit. You can really scrub off a lot of time if you do that too much. We get a good run through there. This right-hander, really fun. In fourth gear, you want to lift slightly on the curb nicely, and then into the last corner. Now, I keep it in fourth. I could have shifted up to fifth, and then on that down to fourth again, but we didn't do that. And then coming to the line now, it's been a really slow lap from us. It's going to be a 45.7, which puts us in P5 for the race. But we let it get down to P6. So that, for me, that was a really good lap time. That was actually our best we've ever done on this track in this car, so I was pretty happy. And the setup felt really good to drive. It was fantastic. But what I forgot to do, I didn't realise about this game, this is what I don't know about this game, is I forgot to load my race setup before the end of qualifying. So what ended up happening is, here you can see we start in P6 on the grid. I'm trying to get into the setup bit, and I couldn't get into it. So I was on quality fuel at the start of the race. So that meant I had to pit really early, and pit probably unnecessarily early if I had my race setup on. I know the Glickenhaus is quite a heavy, it drinks a lot of fuel. So for me, I was in a situation where a bit of a disadvantage for me. I was on quality fuel, and I didn't know that. Again, that shows the inexperience of this game. I don't know much about this game and how it works. So there you go. Me being the inexperienced guy I am, a bit of a noob on this game. I didn't know that you had to load your race setup just before the end of qualifying so you can actually start on race fuel. So there you go, that's something learned. I'd much rather learn it now than actually in the league race. I don't know if I'd actually ever league race in this game. But this car felt really good, so perhaps I would league race in these cars in GT3, but maybe I'd want to do something like a single seater racing like Tattis. So here we go for the race start here, and we're in P6 on the grid. We're roving for 5 red lights here, and we are lights out and away we go. We get a pretty start. Again, start is something that I don't know much about, and I fiddled around with it in practice, but just couldn't get it right. And I'm upping the touch control up a little bit here. These cars, you can run anything you want because they have them in real life. And heading into turn 1 now, being quite cautious here. My first actual online race on this game with a load of cars, getting very close to that Mercedes there, and we're going to try our best. We're right behind Seppel, I think that is. Heading into this corner now in 4th gear, a little bit of understeer, and these tyres were a little bit cold at this point. So again, I didn't know how to sort of drive, and a little bit of understeer there. Heading into this corner now, braking just before the shadow, down in 2nd gear. I turned it in, and a little bit of oversteer I was getting here. I couldn't get the car to see. Look at that oversteer, just full of it. We managed to keep it in P6 for now, but we're losing time to the guys ahead. And then now in 2nd gear, turning it in, just trying to defend as much as possible. So the tyres with me weren't at the temperature at this point. I really struggled with that. But again, that shows that how I'm just such a noob at this game that I didn't know what these things would do. Someone ahead of us has gone a little bit deep. I think he's also in the Glickenhaus, I think it is, in the SCG. And we're now still in P6, but we're right behind him now. So I think, is that Martin? I think it is. Is that Martin? I think it is Martin. I believe it is. We're right behind him now. Yes, it is Martin. As we head into this left-hander now, down in 2nd gear. And remember, again, I said it's the MotoGP circuit, so I wasn't quite familiar with it, but it didn't take too long to get used to, really. It was alright. And now into this right-hander down in 3rd gear. And we're keeping it nice and tight. But obviously at this point, I was running very low fuel, and it meant that I could go quite lightly. Actually, I think Martin ahead of us goes into the pits here, which he does do. So I think he's in the same mistake as me. He didn't really know how it all worked in the setup, I believe, as people have commented in the forums, just didn't really know how it all worked. And we're doing, like, I think that's a 45, is that a 45.4 we did in, yeah, we did a 45.4, which actually was our fastest lap that we've actually done around this track. So for me, to setting lap times like 45.4s in the race was pretty impressive. So that was not too bad. I probably will, I'll probably put out that lap again, maybe on my YouTube channel, perhaps. Might put it up. I might upload it. But that was pretty good for me, and we're actually now into 4th place. But we've got the pit soon. I think we're going to pit in the next couple of laps. We turn on to lap 5 here, right behind Seppel. Well, we're not right behind him, but we're going to come into the pit lane now. And here is another thing that I learned to get into the pits. I didn't know how to. I just braked for the marks basically. I braked here, so I didn't speed into the pit lane. I didn't know how it all worked, so I just did what I normally would do. As you can see, going into pits, but I didn't have any pit strategy, so I had to fuel my car with the amount of fuel that I wanted. So I turned into the pit lane here, perfectly done, pretty easy to do. And then here it sets me onto a screen where it tells me how much fuel I'm going to put on. So I was like, okay, I'm going to put on a full tank because that's the amount I probably will need for the rest of the race, because this fuel is quite this car's quite thirsty in terms of that. And then I started fiddling around with the compound, and I just didn't know. Like, for this, I don't know how you actually can prepare for a pit stop, so I'm guessing it's set as a default before. I'm guessing there's a way you can do it. I'm not entirely sure. Again, something that I need to know. And here, the fuel takes a long time to get through the stop here. So again, like, all these things, just learning, like, everything on this game it's completely new to me. I've hardly played it. I've played for like 12 hours before this point, so these sort of things, and online especially, I've done hardly any online running. So for me, it was quite an experience to understand. But here we go, where we go once again. We're going to be down in, I think, P9. So we're going to be last, stone last. And that's, again, a fault of mine, not loading the race setup before the race itself. And I had a gut instinct that I should have done that, but I didn't do it. So that's my bad. And again, it's good to learn it now. And it was a really good experience. I was really enjoying myself out there. Here was like a comeback drive here, just trying to get through the field. And I think a lot of people ahead of me had to pit anyway. So I was in that sort of stage where perhaps I would have had to pit anyway with full fuel. So I was trying to just get it over and done with. But here we're currently still in last place, and we're chasing the guy ahead of us. And I think he was relatively new. A lot of these guys ahead of us actually just legit just got the game, so they were struggling too as well. So we're all in the same boat in this stage. But basically, AOR hosted this race to sort of gather interest in terms of what if Ace and Assetto Corsa League would happen. And I wanted to compete in it, just trying to see if I would want to do it in the future, and I probably might do it in the future. I'm not entirely sure, but we're about behind the guy in P8 now, as we're trying our best here, trying to get past him to go around the outside possibly, but I was a little bit thinking probably not. I'm trying to go up the inside here. Do I go for it? No, he doesn't, but actually he's braking a lot and he's struggling a lot. I can see it, up into P8. But then I make a mistake going into the next corner because I was paying attention to the proximity arrows, which you should never do on this game. Yeah, I leave room on the inside and I go completely deep and I go off into the gravel. So for me, that was incredibly irritating because, again, me being inexperienced, I didn't know if he was absolutely on my inside, so I should actually look in my mirror before braking instead of actually leaving him the space. Because I was car like the head of him, I could have taken the corner normally. Again, one of those things. So we're chasing him back down again. I think, yeah, it just one of those things. I think he actually lets us go here. I think he's struggling that much. Actually, yeah, he is struggling a little bit, and he does pull off to the left-hand side to, I think, let me go. Or he just understeers, perhaps. Yeah, he's just understeering. So I'm gonna go up on his inside and a little bit of oversteer there. I didn't know what he was doing quite, so I just made a little mistake with the oversteer there, and we get up into P8, chasing after Martin, who is also in the SCG as well, ahead of us. So pretty good there. Just a bit, again, just the experience, and that was my first time actually passing somebody on this game, so that's kind of quite new for me, my first ever overtake. But then coming on later on into this race, we're on lap 10 now, we're still in P8. I felt that I was driving pretty consistently with full fuel, sort of doing early 47s. Just not very good compared to someone like Scuderia, who's out at front. He's just really quick, as we now got to P8 in front of Varsak. But for me, yeah, I was competing against people like Scuderia. He's so quick. He's proved it on the F1 games, and he's proved it in the sloppy once again. He's very quick. I've seen on his channel he's not done a lot of Assetto Corsa content, but he's done a decent amount, and from what I've seen of him, he's been pretty rapid. So, and here once again he was proving that he's pretty rapid in this game. So fair play to him. He was pretty dominant out there. But we got Varsek the company right behind us. I recognise his name from the F1 league. I think I competed against him in AOR GP2 in season 12. So he's here with me as well. And he probably doesn't recognise who I am because I've changed my name since then. So, but I know who he was, and he was keeping quite close with me in the McLaren. But I started pulling away a little bit and switched my legs afterwards, and I think I was a bit more consistent than him. I don't know if he was running the wheel or the pad. I believe he runs the pad, perhaps. I know the pad isn't very good in this game. I haven't tried it myself because I bought this game as soon as I got the wheel instead of getting it with the pad. So, but coming on later on in this race, we're lap 14 now. We're right behind the guy ahead of us, and I think that's Martin. So remember we had that battle with him earlier in the race. And we're right behind him once again, so I'm going to try and push as hard as I can now. We're right behind him. This is a battle for is this P5 now? Because we're actually now in P6, some pitted. We've got some blue flags behind us. That's for Scuderia. He's going to come out to lap us, but I don't believe he actually pitted at this point. So we've made a pit stop, and we probably are not really a lap behind him, really, because he hasn't pitted yet. I don't know if he had to pit, but yeah, I don't know how. I think he was actually in the BMW Z4, so that's why he was. You know, I think the fuel it wasn't as thirsty on the full tank as the SCG. The SCG used about 4.5 litres of fuel a lap, which is quite a lot. But right behind Martin here, I'm going to try and go for an overtake here. We had a little bit of a battle at the start of the race, and for me, I felt right in the groove at this point, really had the momentum at this point as Varsak disconnects. But yeah, I just felt really comfortable with the car. I was driving pretty well. I felt. I was so new to the game, but when you get into a rhythm in this game, it feels great. As there you go, as Martin's gone really wide here, we've got a good run on him. We go to the left-hand side, and he seemed to have pretty good straight line speed, surprisingly. But we're going on his inside into this corner now. We're going to brake normally, and we're on the inside, and that is the move done into P6 or P5 we go. So we were down in P9 at one point, and we're now back up to P5, chasing after P4, which is still PRT. Remember him from the last season that I did in AOR, recently, the AOR X1 Project Class 2 GT3 Season 8 Pro League. So he was one of the rivals in there. So he's ahead of me right now, and he's in the BMW Z4, and I'm just trying to chase him down here. But it was good to have a few familiar faces, and the interest for an Assetto Corsa League on XS1 is right there. It's right there for us, and I hope it does kick off, because I think this game deserves a chance on the console. But you'll see why later why it might not happen very soon. But here we go, Sierra's right behind me. I can see it. I felt I was perhaps holding up a little bit here, so I let him go. I thought that's probably the most suitable pace for me to let him go, so I didn't lose much time. So there he goes, chasing after lap P4 ahead of us. But as I said, he hadn't made a stop. He hadn't made a stop yet, and I think I spent like 40 seconds in the pits. So that's how much time I lost. So I should be probably right with Seppel really at this point, instead of being in P5 way away, completely away from P3. So yeah, realistically, that was really the thing. A little bit of OSD through there, and I kind of start losing a little bit of momentum. Perhaps that's dirty, yeah. I don't know how that works in this game. That could be that. I'm not entirely sure. But we're just trying to do the best job possible. Hopefully keep up with these guys as CRE tries to pass LPRT, and so he passed him on the straight. So I was hoping to try and gain back some time that I lost, but I actually lost a little bit of time through losing time through that last sector there. So my job was now trying to chase down LPRT. I thought I had a little bit more pace than him. But again, he's almost reigniting what we had in AOR GT3 Season 8 Semi-Pro. He was pretty good on that, and he's more experienced than me on the wheel than I am. But right here, we're right behind him at this point. We've called back up to him. We're pretty much, I think, just doing sort of similar lap times, and I was just beginning to put him under pressure at this point. So I felt that a move was possible. And we're going around into the last sector now. We're going to keep it in fourth gear. This is such a fun section here. And I just felt I think I was a little bit more... I perhaps was a bit more consistent than him. And I'm not entirely sure. He goes a little bit wide there, so I got a little bit good of a run here. And I was preparing myself into this lap 18. I felt that perhaps a chance of trying to overtake him was possible in this lap. We head down here, and you'll think that I've absolutely just taken out the guy in front of me. But here we go, into this zone. I brake normally, and I hit him, and I got 4 damage. But you can see in my top right hand corner, I've gone P1 by doing that. So the whole session actually lagged out. I didn't get any screen freezes whatsoever. But I braked normally, I quit the session, I braked exactly normally, and you can see the sessions on here have completely gone. There's only 2 online sessions going, so that shows that basically I had a complete server meltdown. Not great at all for Assetto Corsa. So that meant that interrupted running. So I do apologise for that, but it looked like that I absolutely killed CLPRT. But I actually braked exactly the same point, and on my screen, he had completely come to a standstill at mid corner. So I was pretty much caught out by it. So I thought he braked at me, but going back and watching the Twitch stream, and I got a message earlier after the race. CLPRT messaged me saying that the whole session had legit this collapse, and everyone had a game freeze and a lobby freeze, and they got sent back to the lobby, sent back to the main screen. Whereas on my screen, nothing happened like that. Instead, I had the guy ahead of me just almost braked so much that I hit him. I braked normally, and he braked so much, and I hit him in the rear. I got caught out by surprise, and that meant that I got up to P1, and it's all P1 on my screen. So I saw that afterwards. That's the way it is, that's kind of what it was. Luckily, it wasn't actually my mistake in the end. It actually was a game problem when the game just completely froze, and everyone got sent back to the lobby, which actually is a shame. Whether or not this game is ready for league racing yet, I'm not entirely sure. We have got a Tatus social coming up soon in 2 weeks' time, so that'll be good to see if it is ready. But I'm hoping it is. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave a like and subscribe for more wrestling content on the channel. And I'll see you very soon for another video on the channel. Bye, guys.